There was a day. You remember it. Maybe it came with words. Maybe it came with silence. A door closing. A message left unanswered. A voice that used to fill your world going completely quiet. And something inside you, something deep and private, broke. Not loudly. Not with a scene or a confrontation. Just quietly. The way old wood splits in winter. The way light disappears at dusk. Before you realize, the room has gone dark. One moment they were there. The next, they were gone. And you were left standing in that absence, wondering what you had done wrong, wondering what was wrong with you, wondering if God had seen any of it, and if He had, why He let it happen. Chosen one. Let me name what it felt like, because no one around you may have given it the right name. It felt like being discarded, like being evaluated and found insufficient, like being chosen and then unchosen, like you were placed in someone's hands for a season and then set aside, not with cruelty perhaps, sometimes without even a reason, just set aside. And the particular cruelty of that kind of loss is that you cannot mourn it fully. There is no funeral for a friendship that dissolved. There is no ceremony for a connection that simply stopped. You carry the grief alone. You scroll past their name. You wonder if they think of you. And in the quietest moments, in the ones no one sees, you wonder if you were ever as significant to them as they were to you. That is the wound. I see it. God sees it. And I need you to stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you understand everything that happened. It is a Friday evening. The house is quiet. Everyone else seems to have somewhere to be. And you are sitting with your phone in your hand, doing something you told yourself you would stop doing. You are on their page, looking at their pictures, looking at the life they are living without you in it. And they look fine, more than fine. They look like they have not lost a thing. You put your phone down, and there is that feeling again. That ache that sits just behind the sternum, not sharp, not dramatic, just present, like a stone you carry everywhere that no one else can see. You think to yourself, maybe I was the only one who cared. Maybe what I thought was something rare was ordinary to them. Maybe I made it into more than it was. And that thought, that particular thought, is the most dangerous one, because it is not the truth. It is the wound speaking, and the wound does not have access to what God knows about what happened. Here is what God saw. He saw someone He had appointed, being held in a season that was never meant to be permanent. He saw a chosen one in a relationship, a friendship, a partnership, a connection that had served its purpose in the story He was writing. And when it had served its purpose, He moved it, not abandoned it, not destroyed it, moved it. The way a surgeon removes tissue that is no longer serving the body, not with cruelty, with precision. What looked to you like rejection was divine redirection. What felt like being discarded was God clearing the construction site, because He is building something that requires more room than you currently have. And the thing that was occupying that room, the connection, the relationship, the person, had to be moved, so that what God is building has somewhere to stand. They did not let you go. God repositioned you, and they, in the mystery of His sovereignty, were the instrument He used to accomplish it. Chosen one, hear this now. Receive it. You were never the one who was lost in that story. You never were. The one who left is the one navigating a consequence they cannot yet see. But you are being prepared right now, in this silence, in this season of quiet aching, in these Friday evenings and unanswered questions and private grief. God is doing the most precise work He has ever done in your life. He is not absent. He is not distracted. He is not watching from a distance, wondering what to do. He is close, closer than the ache in your chest, closer than the memory of their voice. He is here, and He is building something in you that the world is not yet ready to see, but it is coming. It is already in progress. And everything that felt like loss was part of the blueprint. But here is what God requires of you in this season: silence. Not the silence of defeat, not the silence of someone who has given up or accepted less than they deserve. The silence of someone who trusts the Judge of all the earth to render the verdict that no human courtroom can deliver. The silence of David in the cave of Adullam, surrounded by the misfit and the broken, while Saul pursued him, saying nothing, doing nothing, waiting, because he knew that the God who anointed him was the same God who would seat him on the throne. He did not need to announce himself. He did not need to defend himself. He needed only to be still. Chosen one, this is your cave of Adullam. This is your silent season. And what God is about to show you is why this silence is the most powerful thing you have ever done. There is a reason God does not tell you to fight. There is a reason He does not hand you a script for the confrontation, a set of perfect words to send to the one who hurt you, a moment of justified outrage to finally show them who they were dealing with. He does not give you any of that. He gives you something harder. He gives you silence. And the reason, the theological reason, the reason that holds up under the full weight of Scripture is this: when God is the judge, the case is already decided. Romans 12, Niton. It could not be more direct. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I will repay. Not I might repay. Not I will consider it. I will repay. This is not poetry. This is a divine legal declaration. And when the sovereign God takes jurisdiction over your case, every word you speak outside of His courtroom is inadmissible. Not because your words are wrong, because His verdict is already rendered, and your silence is the only posture that allows His justice to be fully seen. See, S. Lewis wrote something that has never left me, In the Problem of Pain, a book he wrote while wrestling with the darkest question a believer can ask. He said this: pain is God's megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Read it again. Pain is not God's absence. Pain is God's voice. Turn to full volume. When everything is comfortable, when the relationships are intact, and the connections are warm, and the seat at the table is still yours, it is easy to mistake the comfort for the calling. But when the comfort is removed, when the voice goes quiet, when the seat is empty, and the text goes unanswered, God has something to say that required the noise to stop so that you could finally hear it. Your pain is not a sign that God has forgotten you. Your pain is God speaking at a frequency that only the chosen one can receive. And He is saying, be still. I am about to move. Do not misread Romans 12:19. It is not asking you to be passive. It is not asking you to pretend that what was done to you did not matter. It is not asking you to smile and say it was fine. What it is asking you to do is this: step back from the bench. You are not the judge. You were never the judge. And when you try to deliver your own verdict, your own punishment, your own exposure, your own correction of the one who hurt you, you are stepping into a role that was never yours to fill. Vengeance is mine, I will repay. The repayment is coming. It is already scheduled. Your silence is not surrender. Your silence is trust. It is the most courageous act a chosen one can perform. But I need to warn you, because there is a voice, and you have heard it, that will tell you that silence is weakness, that staying quiet is letting them win, that if you do not speak up, if you do not correct the record, if you do not make sure that everyone knows your side of the story, then the narrative will belong to them. And this voice feels righteous. It feels like self-respect. It dresses itself in dignity and speaks in the language of truth. But it is a counterfeit, because its goal, its only goal, is to get you to open your mouth before God opens his, to get you to play defense in a courtroom where God has already ruled in your favor. The enemy does not fear your anger. He fears your silence, because your silence is what allows God to be heard. And when God speaks into your situation, when he delivers his verdict publicly, in his timing, in his way, there will be nothing left for anyone to argue with. I want you to understand what is happening in the unseen realm. When the chosen one chooses silence, it is not nothing. It is not passive. It is not the absence of activity. It is the activation of the most powerful forces in the cosmos. When you close your mouth and open your hands in surrender, when you say, God, this is yours, I am not going to fight this battle myself, something shifts in the heavenly places. The angels assigned to your case receive their orders. The God who sees everything, the full account of what was done to you, every dismissal, every door closed, every word spoken behind your back, that God stands up from his throne, not in panic, in precision, because justice deferred is not justice denied. It is justice being prepared with a thoroughness that your human hands could never achieve. Every day you stay silent is another day God is building. The evidence, the testimony, the moment of public vindication that will require no explanation, because it will be undeniable. Stay silent, chosen one. Let heaven work right now. Before we go any further, I need you to make a declaration, not for the algorithm, not as a comment, as a declaration to the courts of heaven. Type the word justice in the comments below, not because it will go viral, not because I am asking you to engage, but because when you declare it, when you put that word into the atmosphere and say, God, you are my defender, God, the case belongs to you, something happens in the spiritual realm that the natural eye cannot see. You are not asking God to be your defender. You are acknowledging that he already is, that he has been, since the moment they let you go. Type it. Let it be your declaration. Let it be the first brick in the wall of your vindication. Justice. God has already said yes to it. Now say it back to him. While you were grieving, while you were sitting in that silence, wondering if God had seen any of it, he was building, not planning, not considering. Building. There is a construction site that exists in the spiritual realm that has your name on the permit, and it has been active. Since the moment they walked away, you could not see it. You were not supposed to see it yet, because there are things God builds that cannot be built in your presence. There are foundations he lays that require the old structure to be cleared first. And what you experienced as loss, the departure, the rejection, the silence, where a voice used to be, was not the destruction of something precious. It was the clearing of a site that was too crowded for what God has planned. He did not allow this to happen to you. He orchestrated this on your behalf. And what is being built on the other side of this silence is something so far beyond what that relationship could have given you, that one day you will understand why God moved so precisely. Here is the turn. Here is the thing that most people never come to understand about the ones who leave their lives. They were not independent actors. They did not make a random choice based on their own preferences or limitations. Every person who has ever walked out of your life at a moment that felt like the worst possible time was escorted, chosen one. Do you understand what I am saying? They were escorted by the same hands that parted the Red Sea, by the same sovereignty that turned water into wine, by the God who works all things together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. The person who dismissed you thought they were making a choice, but they were playing a role in a story that was written before either of you drew your first breath. Their departure was not an accident. Their dismissal was not a tragedy. It was a directed removal, a surgical act of divine preparation. And the one doing the removing was not them. It was God, working precisely, working purposefully, working on your behalf. Let me come back to that moment. The Friday night, the quiet house, the phone in your hand. You are on their page again. And this time, I want you to see it differently. While you were sitting there, feeling like you had been left behind, feeling like they had moved on, and you were standing still, God was moving faster than he had moved in years. In the unseen realm, just behind the surface of everything you could see, he was positioning pieces. He was removing obstacles you did not even know were in your way. He was clearing relationships that would have complicated the next season of your calling. He was doing what only God can do, turning the moment of your greatest vulnerability into the threshold of your most significant advancement. You looked at their page and thought, they have moved on. God looked at you and said, you are about to. The elevation that is coming will not fit in the season. They just exited. It requires the space that their absence created. In the book of Daniel, an angel came to him with a message, and the angel said something that should change the way you think about divine timing forever. He said, from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before God, your words were heard. From the first day, but the answer took 21 days to arrive. Not because God was slow, not because God had forgotten, because in the 21 days between the prayer and the answer, there was a battle being fought in the unseen realm on Daniel's behalf. Chosen one, in the silence between your wound and your vindication, there is a battle being fought. Heaven is not quiet. Heaven is not still. Heaven is moving with a force and a specificity that would take your breath away if you could see it. Every day you stay silent. Every day you resist the urge to defend, to explain, to correct, is another day that God's forces advance further into the situation. You are not waiting for God. God is not waiting for you. You are standing still while heaven moves on your behalf. C.S. Lewis wrote a letter, one of many letters. He spent his lifetime writing to people who were suffering. And in one of those letters, he put into words something that most theologians have never had the courage to say. He wrote, we are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. Read that again. We are not doubting God. We are wondering how painful the best will be. This is not a failure of faith. This is the honest prayer of a soul that trusts God completely and still feels the cost of that trust in their body. The chosen one does not need to pretend that this does not hurt. It does hurt. It was designed to hurt because the kind of character that God is forging in you right now can only be forged under pressure. The kind of trust He is building in your soul can only be built when the comfortable things are removed. The best that God has for you, the version of your life that makes everything that happened makes sense, is on the other side of this pain. And the pain is not evidence that God got it wrong. The pain is evidence that He is getting it profoundly right. Isaiah 54-17. God made a promise that I want you to hold like a weapon in a spiritual war. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Not no weapon will be formed. Weapons will be formed. People will make decisions against you. Doors will be closed. Words will be spoken behind your back. Dismissals will come, but none of them, not one, will achieve its intended outcome, because you are covered, not by your own effort, not by your own strategy, not by your own ability to navigate the politics of relationships, by a covenant, a divine covenant that was sealed before they ever decided to let you go. The weapon they used against you when they walked away, it has already failed. You do not know it yet, but the failure is already written in the record of heaven. And the day you see it, the day it becomes visible in the natural realm, you will know exactly why God asked you to stay silent. I need to pause here because we are at the most dangerous point in this season, and I would be doing you a disservice if I did not warn you directly. There is a mistake that chosen ones make at exactly this stage. Right when God is beginning to move, right when the construction site is active, right when heaven is preparing the verdict, and it costs them everything. The mistake is this: speaking too soon, reaching out, sending the message, posting the response, correcting the record, making sure people know that there are two sides to this story. And I understand it. I understand the pull of it. When something unjust has happened to you, when you have been dismissed, discarded, misrepresented, the desire to correct the record feels like integrity. It feels like self-respect. It feels like refusing to be a victim. But chosen one, if you speak before God does, you will spend the rest of this season managing a narrative instead of receiving a vindication. And there is an infinite difference between those two things. Here is the tension I need you to hold. Two things are true at the same time. The first, God is moving. He is moving faster than you know. He is moving with more precision than you could engineer. He is already working the outcome in your favor. You are covered. You are protected. The verdict is written. That is the comfort. Hold it. Now here is the urgency. You are not there yet. The vindication has not yet appeared in the natural realm and in the space between where you are now and where God is taking you. Every word you speak prematurely is a delay. Every defensive move you make without God's instruction is a step backward on a path that only moves forward through trust. The comfort is real. The urgency is real. And the chosen one who holds both, who says, God is moving and I will not rush him, that is the chosen one who receives the full weight of the vindication, not a portion of it, all of it. Let me show you exactly what happens when you break the silence. Imagine you are in a courtroom. The most powerful attorney in the history of the world is standing at the bench, presenting your case. He has the evidence. He has the testimony. He has the authority of every court in the cosmos behind him. And just as he is about to deliver the defining argument, the one that would have ended the case, you stand up from your seat and you start talking. Your voice is not as powerful as his. Your evidence is not as complete as his. Your authority is not recognized by the court the way his is. And the moment you speak, he has to stop because you have just complicated the case. That is what self-defense costs you, not your dignity, not your narrative. It costs you your divine attorney. It costs you the verdict that was already prepared. It costs you the moment God was about to move on your behalf. The moment you defend yourself, you have dismissed the one who is about to defend you perfectly. The enemy understands this better than most believers do. He knows that the chosen one cannot be defeated by opposition alone. He knows that God's protection over your life is too complete. He knows that the weapons formed against you are already destined to fail. So he does not come at you with opposition. He comes at you with provocation. He engineers the moment where the silence becomes unbearable, where someone says something about you that demands a response, where the narrative begins to shift against you publicly, where the injustice becomes visible and staying quiet starts to feel like complicity. And he waits. He is very patient. He waits for the moment when the pressure is exactly high enough to get you to open your mouth, because he knows one reaction, one unguarded response, one defensive post, one message sent in anger, one moment of justified outrage is enough to transfer the case out of God's hands and back into yours. And your hands are not equipped to carry it. Stay silent. Let God handle it. The enemy's greatest fear is a chosen one who will not react. I want to say something to you now that I need you to receive at the deepest level of your being. The chosen one who does not react cannot be defeated. Read that again. Cannot be defeated. Not is less likely to be defeated. Not has a better chance. Cannot. Because the enemy has no strategy for a chosen one who refuses to enter the battle on the enemy's terms. Every scheme that has been set against you requires your cooperation to succeed. The dismissal only works if you internalize it. The narrative only sticks if you try to correct it and create more noise. The departure only defeats you if you follow them into the fight they are trying to start. But when you stay still, when you choose the silence over the satisfaction of being heard, something changes. The scheme collapses under its own weight. The narrative loses its energy because there is nothing to feed it. And you, standing in the quiet, trusting in the God who sees everything, you become the most spiritually dangerous person in the room. Not because of what you do, because of what you refuse to do. If you are still here, if you have made it to this point in this message, I need you to do something right now. Type these words in the comments. I will wait. Not as a resolution, not as a promise to yourself, as a declaration to the courts of heaven. I will wait. I will not speak before God does. I will not defend what God has already covered. I will not rush the verdict that is being prepared with more care than I could ever manufacture. I will wait, because the God I serve has never been early. He has never been late. He is always precisely on time, and his timing will deliver what no amount of my speaking could ever achieve. Type it. I will wait. Let heaven hear it. I want to tell you what vindication looks like, because most people have the wrong picture. They imagine a dramatic confrontation, a moment where everything is exposed, where the one who hurt them is forced to stand in front of everyone and account for what they did, a public reckoning, a visible humiliation. And I understand why that image is appealing. When you have been wrong, when you have been dismissed and discarded, something in you wants the world to see it, to recognize what happened, to know your side of the story. But that is not how God's vindication works. God's justice is not punishment. God's justice is placement. He does not drag the one who hurt you into the light to be shamed. He simply lifts you to a place where the contrast becomes undeniable. He places you in a season, in a room, in a level of influence and peace that speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. You will not need to announce it. You will not need to explain it. It will simply be visible, and the ones who let you go will feel the weight of what they discarded without a single word from you. I am speaking prophetically now, chosen one. Hear this as a word directly from God over your specific situation. The ones who let you go will see you. They will see you in a season they do not have access to. They will encounter your name in a context they did not expect. They will come across evidence of your elevation, a success, a peace, a joy, a version of you that is so clearly the result of what God built in the silence. And they will know, not because you told them, not because you posted about it, not because you crafted the perfect message to make sure they understood. They will simply know, the way you know when you have missed something you cannot get back, a quiet, deep-seated recognition that what they let go was not ordinary, that what they dismissed was carrying something rare. And in that moment, in the private, unannounced moment of their recognition, God's justice will have been served in full, not with noise, with undeniable, quiet truth. Let me paint the picture of where God is taking you, not as poetry, as a prophetic declaration rooted in the consistent pattern of how God works with His chosen ones. Throughout all of Scripture, He lifts the silent ones high. Joseph, who said nothing in the years of the prison, elevated overnight to second in command of the most powerful nation on earth. David, who said nothing in the years of the cave, crowned king over all of Israel. Esther, who said nothing in the years of preparation, positioned to save an entire people with a single moment of courage. The pattern is not coincidence. It is the consistent signature of a God who builds His greatest monuments in the seasons of greatest silence. And you, who have been in your own cave, your own prison, your own season of quiet preparation, are being built for something that the people who dismissed you do not have the capacity to enter, not because they are less, because you were shaped differently, specifically for a purpose that required exactly this kind of fire. And they will look up, and you will already be there. C.S. Lewis, in Mere Christianity, gave us one of the most misunderstood lines in all of Christian thought. He wrote, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less." The chosen one who stays silent is not humiliating themselves. They are not agreeing with the verdict of the person who discarded them. They are not saying, "You are right, I am not worth fighting for." They are saying something far more powerful. They are saying, "I am so secure in who God says I am that I do not need this person's opinion to confirm it. I am so certain of where God is taking me that I do not need to defend where I have been. I am thinking of myself less, not because I matter less, but because I have given the matter to the one who handles it better than I ever could." That is not weakness. That is the highest form of spiritual confidence available to a human being. The silent chosen one is not the overlooked one. The silent chosen one is the one who already knows the outcome. Luke 4:6. Jesus said it directly, plainly, without qualification. "For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." This is not a suggestion. This is not a principle that works most of the time. This is a law of the kingdom, as reliable as gravity, as certain as sunrise. The one who exalted themselves, who made the noise, who controlled the narrative, who made sure everyone knew their side of the story, will be humbled, not by you, by the law of the kingdom itself. And the one who humbled themselves, who stayed silent, who trusted, who let God be the loudest voice in the room, will be exalted. Not eventually, not maybe, will be. This is the guarantee behind your silence. This is the promise that makes the quiet season not just bearable, but glorious. You are not losing by staying silent. You are positioning yourself for an exaltation that is already written into the law of heaven. Chosen one. I need you to hear this next sentence carefully. You are already in your vindication season, not approaching it, already in it. The moment you chose silence over defense, the moment you said, God, this is yours, the vindication began. You cannot see all of it yet. It is still being assembled in the unseen realm, but it has already started. The forces of heaven that were set in motion by your surrender are already working, already moving, already positioning what is yours into its proper place. The promotion, the peace, the relationships that are coming to replace what was taken, the open doors that will make the closed ones make perfect sense. It is already happening, and the only thing that can stop it is you deciding to step back into the fight that God has already won. Stay in your lane, stay in the silence, stay in the trust, because what is coming is not just compensation for what you lost. It is the reason the loss was necessary. I want to bring us to something practical now, because theology without application is beautiful but incomplete. We have talked about what God is doing. We have talked about what heaven is building. We have talked about why your silence is the most powerful posture available to you. But I want to talk about what you actually do on a Tuesday afternoon when the ache is still present, on a Sunday morning when the seat next to you is empty, on the days when the silence does not feel sacred, it just feels lonely. What do you do then? There are three things, three specific concrete anchors that the chosen one holds on to. In the space between the wound and the vindication, these are not theories. These are the disciplines that have carried every great man and woman of God through their silent season and into their most significant chapter. I want to give them to you now, one by one. The first anchor is this: guard your words. Not just the big ones, not just the confrontational messages or the defensive posts, all of them, because here is what most people do not understand about the spiritual economy of words. Every word you speak about the situation that God is handling costs something, not to the other person, to you. Every time you rehearse the injustice, every time you tell the story again, to a friend, to a family member, to anyone who will listen, you are spending energy that God was going to use for your elevation. You are feeding the wound instead of the vision. You are keeping yourself emotionally located in the past instead of spiritually positioned for the future. This does not mean you cannot process. This does not mean you cannot pray it through with a trusted person. It means you stop performing the pain. You stop rehearsing the story in ways that keep you anchored to the moment of the wound. Guard your words. What you speak about, you feed. And right now, God is asking you to starve the past so that the future has room to breathe. The second anchor is this: build your inner world, because the palace God is preparing for you in the natural realm always begins as a construction project. In the interior, the promotion that is coming requires a character that can sustain it. The influence that is being prepared requires a peace that does not collapse under pressure. The relationships that are coming, the right ones, the ones that were always supposed to be yours, require a version of you that has been deepened by the silence, not diminished by it. So while you wait, build, read the books, that expand your thinking. Develop the skill that was always on the back burner. Cultivate the spiritual disciplines that make you harder to move and easier to trust. Work on the version of yourself that the vindication is designed to celebrate, because there is nothing more powerful than arriving at the moment of elevation, fully prepared for it. The ones who let you go will not just see you elevated, they will see you ready, visibly, undeniably ready, and they will know that what they dismissed had been in preparation, long before they ever showed up, and continued in preparation, long after they left. The third anchor, and this one is the most important, is this: worship in the waiting, not after the vindication, not when the evidence arrives, and you can finally praise God because you can see what He was doing now, in the silence, in the uncertainty, in the Friday evenings, and the unanswered questions, and the private grief that no one else sees. Worship now, because worship before the evidence is the most powerful declaration of faith available to a human being. It says something to heaven that no petition, no prayer request, no list of needs ever says. It says, I trust you, not because I can see what you are doing. I trust you because of who you are. And when heaven hears that, when the courts of God receive the worship of a chosen one who has every reason to be angry and chooses praise instead, something accelerates. The case moves faster. The construction picks up speed. The vindication that was on its way suddenly has an urgency attached to it, because the chosen one has declared by their praise that they are ready. Worship is not a feeling. Worship is a weapon, and in your silent season, it is the most powerful one you have. Psalm kolmekummenta seitsemän. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Be still, not be passive, not be disengaged, not do nothing and hope things work out. Be still before the Lord with intention, with focus, with the full weight of your trust placed on the one who has never once failed to deliver. Wait patiently for Him, not wait hopelessly, not wait while doubting whether He will come. Wait patiently, the way a farmer waits for the harvest, who has done everything required of him, and now simply trusts the season to do what seasons do. The farmer does not dig up the seed to check on it. The farmer does not plant and then panic. The farmer waits with the certainty of someone who knows that the seed was good, the soil was prepared, and the rain is coming. Chosen one, your seed was good. God prepared the soil. The rain of vindication is already on its way. Be still. Wait patiently. The harvest is closer than it has ever been. We have come to the end. And I want you to know something. Before I release you from this message, God has already spoken His final word over your story. Not the word that the person who left you spoke, not the verdict of the one who dismissed you, not the conclusion of anyone who evaluated you with limited eyes and incomplete information. God's final word. And His final word is not defeat. His final word is not this one was overlooked. His final word is not this one was abandoned and there is nothing left to do for them now. His final word is, this one is mine. This one was always mine. This one was appointed before the foundation of the world. This one was chosen not by human preference, but by divine design. This one was shaped by the silence for a purpose that the silence made possible. And what I have begun in this one, what the wound and the waiting and the sacred stillness have been building toward, I will bring to completion. That is God's final word, not theirs. His chosen one. I want to speak something over you now. Receive this as a word spoken directly from the heart of God over your specific life, your specific situation, your specific silence, God says, I have not forgotten you. I have never for a single moment taken my eyes off of you. The silence you have been walking through was not my absence. It was my workshop. I was working. I am still working. And what I am building in this season is so much more than you have asked for, so much more than you have been able to imagine, that when it appears, when it becomes visible in the natural realm, you will not even recognize it as the answer to the prayer you were praying when the pain was loudest, because the answer is bigger than the prayer. It always is. When I am the builder, you were not passed over, chosen one. You were passed through the fire that burns away what could not go with you, through the silence that removed what could not be trusted, with what is coming, through the waiting that built in you what the next season requires. You are not behind. You are exactly where I need you to be. Stand still a little longer. I am almost done. Revelation 3-8. Jesus spoke it to a church, a small, overlooked, under-resourced community that everyone had underestimated. And he said, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. No one. Not the person who let you go. Not the relationship that ended. Not the dismissal, the discard, the door that was closed in your face. None of it can shut the door that God has opened for you, because the door He opens does not depend on human permission. It does not depend on who endorses you. It does not depend on who gives you access or who decides you are worthy of the opportunity. It depends only on Him, and He has decided the door is open. It was opened the moment you surrendered the case. It was opened the moment you said, God, you are my defender. It was opened the moment you chose silence over self-defense. And you are already too far through it to look back. They will regret losing you, but by then you will already be living in the room they could not enter. Go forward now, chosen one, not with anger, not with the need to be proven right, not with your eyes behind you, watching to see whether the ones who hurt you are receiving what they deserve. Go forward with your eyes fixed on the one who is ahead of you, who has gone before you, who has already arrived at the destination He's taking you toward, and is standing there, saying, come. There is more here than you know. There is more here than you lost. There is more here than you are able to ask or imagine. Come. The silence did its work. The wound served its purpose. The season of waiting accomplished everything God designed it to accomplish. And now the silence lifts, not with noise, with fruit, with the quiet, undeniable evidence of a life that was shaped in the hidden place, for something the visible world is finally ready to receive. Go forward. You are ready. You were always going to be ready. God made sure of it. Before you leave, I need to say one more thing. This is not the end of your story. This is not even close to the end. What God started in you in this silent season, He is not done with it. He is never halfway through a good work and then decides to leave it unfinished. Philippians 1-6 says it clearly. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. He will carry it on to completion. He does not do unfinished work. He does not build half a palace and walk away. He does not appoint a chosen one and then forget what they were appointed for. He finishes what He starts. And He started something in you that is still in motion. So if this message has spoken to something in the deep part of you, if something in this hour has felt like a word that was meant for you specifically, I want you to subscribe, not for me, for yourself. because the next message in this series is going to continue exactly where this one ends. God has more to say about your vindication, more to reveal about your elevation, more to build in the season that comes after the silence. Turn on notifications. Stay close, because the best of what God is doing in your story is not behind you. It is directly ahead, and we are going to walk through it together. They will regret losing you, chosen one, but by the time they realize it, you will already be home.